So in today's lecture, we are going to cover deep Q learning algorithm. So it may be going to be a short lecture. We'll try to finish it fast because once we understand whatever I was trying to cover in our last three lectures, then deep Q learning is doesn't require too many things. Almost we have covered that, but the only thing is that to formally understand how to use such a paradigm to train something autonomously, automatically, and learn a function. So once if you want to learn a function, you need to know that what is that function. And now we understand that what is value function, what is q function, what is a policy. And then we say that what's the optimal state value function, that is your v star s, which essentially mean that it doesn't matter that what is the policy that you are going to take. I wanted to know that how good is this state, which means that from this state, how much amount of juice in terms of your reward that you can extract. And that is my V astic. So that is saying that doesn't matter that whatever the policy that you are taking, you just tell me that what is the maximum juice that I can extract out of this given state. And similarly, this q asterisk is going to tell that again, doesn't matter that whatever the policy, you tell me that at this state, if I take this action, afterwards what is the maximum juice I can extract. So we all understand this stuff. And we also understand that at state s, if I take an action a, got a reward r, move into a state this, and at that state, if I know the optimal behavior is going to be, and at that, and from that state I can choose multiple actions, all possible actions. And what is the maximum juice that I can extract if I am at this state and choose this action. This is the maximum juice that you can extract. This is the maximum reward that you can extract if at state s dash you choose this action. So essentially it means that what is the maximum juice you can extract is that I will get this reward r, because anyways from at state s I am taking this action. And afterwards, if you can tell me that out of all the possible action, what is the best reward from where I'm going to get, that is the maximization over this. So now you can see that that is r plus gamma max of all possible things, which is being written as this. Also we have seen uh, this is the important equation, that is the governing equation, which is actually imposing the Bellman optimality over this. So it actually says that if you wanted to know that what is the optimal reward that you can get when at state s you choose this action a, you need to know that the place where you are going after this, from where, if you know the optimal behavior, then use that, using that optimal behavior, you can compute this. And that is why Bellman equation is actually holding and is being enforced over here as well, which is saying that out of all a's, out of all s where you can go when you take this action at this state, you tell me that what is the expected value. So this is the reward when you move from s to a, when you take an action a at state s. And then you are saying that all possible actions when that you can take when you are at any of such s dash states that are possible. So your policy right now is a non-deterministic policy, which is actually saying that at s you can while taking an a, you are not going to a one fixed state, you may be into some multiple set of states. We have seen this thing in great detail, and this is the the prime governing equation, which is going to be utilized in deep q learning. So and then we have seen so many things, that how we can fix up a policy and then evaluate that policy. We have seen that how we can evaluate a policy. So policy evaluation, in the last lecture we have seen that once we evaluate a policy, we need to know that given such a policy, how I can somehow come up with a better and better policy. And that we have shown using DP, the way in which it was actually being done is that you first randomly choose a policy. With respect to that, you can have a value function using DP, and then you can somehow, this is value iteration that you are doing. You keep on doing value iteration, which means that when you are trying to come up with this, you are going to utilize the values that you have got in the previous version of your V value function. So previous version of your value function is going to give you the approximates of the upcoming better and better versions of your value function. And once you feel that over this value iteration you have got a reasonable estimate of value, then over that you do greedy strategy and come up with another policy. This is your updated policy. So initial policy was a random policy, and now you have got a policy which is slightly better than the random policy, and then keep on doing this stuff again and again. And yes, so it's being shown that you start with some arbit policy, arbit value function with respect to a given policy, and then you evaluate, and then you improve, and then you evaluate this policy, and then you improve, and then you evaluate this policy, and then you improve, and so on. And at some point of time you are going to get the optimal value function as well as the optimal policy. And it's also being shown that you need not to worry about that whether this is going to be converged or not, because it's theoretically also being proved that it's going to converge, and it's going to converge over the optimal policy. And the only thing is that it may take good amount of time. Yes, so this equation we have seen, and this was the equation we just have explained. Our Q value function, the values of our Qi, which actually mean that the estimate of my Q value at time step t, or say at ith iteration. And if you keep on doing these iterations for a huge amount of time or multiple times, and suppose that your I is reaching towards infinity, then theoretically it's been proved that Qi is actually equivalent, or may become equivalent to Q astic. But essentially in practice, 5 or 8 or 10 different, after such an iteration, if the problem is not very difficult, like that simple word problem, probably you may end up with good estimate of this Q astic. Mostly in difficult problems, like if you wanted to play Atari games, this is going to take huge amount of time. So the point is that there are a few different problems that you can evaluate and improve. We all understand that in the case of Atari game, raw pixels of a frame, they are going to be your state. And if such a state you are going to use, then they are going to be exponentially in huge amount of states in which you can be. And even if your action is not is actually not exponentially many actions you have some finite number of action, but state action pair is going to be a huge thing, and you cannot compute such a thing using your DP thing. So that's why it fails in such complex scenarios. And there it comes that instead of trying to compute this QS comma A, because that is the solution of your MDP, because if you know this QS comma A, which means that then you can choose that at any state what is the action that one should have to choose. You just have to see that uh, you were at a state this, you wanted to take an action, and then you see that which action is going to give you the maximum reward, because this is the optimal behavior. This is going to tell you that at S state, if you take A1, then this much is the reward. If you take A2, then this one is the reward. If you take A3, then this one is the reward. And then you see that, okay, this is going to give me the maximum optimal reward. I am always going to choose that state and keep on doing. So that's the solution for your MDP. And solving it using DP becomes infeasible. So we said that let us come up with a neural network which is being parameterized over theta, and we wanted to train such a theta which is going to tell you that if you show me a new state, I can tell you that what is the action, which essentially mean to say that if you give me a state, I'm going to tell you A1, A2, A3, and so on. So I'm going to tell you Q S comma A1, Q, S comma A2, and so on for all the actions I can tell you. So that is actually the estimate that your neural network need to understand if it wanted to somehow tell you about the estimating this Q value. And it has to tell you the this value instead of any Q with respect to a pi. It is saying that agnostically with respect to the pi, whatever the value, whatever the pi that you may choose, network need to learn Q, network need to learn the Q astic, right? So network need to learn the Q astic S comma A. So yeah, so we need to learn such a parameter, and that is this is the thing that is actually being called as divide. That's why it's being called as deep Q learning, because we are learning this Q function using a deep neural network. So the intuition mean to say that I'm going to give you S comma A, where A may be A is not a single state. I may say that it's actually the set of states, set of actions that you can take. And given a state, you need to tell me that Q S comma A1 S comma A2 and all possible is that what is the Q value for them. In fact, what's the best Q value for them? And the point is that how can you train such a thing is the only thing you can assume is that the Bellman optimality. So Bellman optimality is going to say that this network is keep on changing, and I'm saying that I'm having version of my Q that is at Tth version of my Q. And if you wanted to know the Tth version of my Q, so you definitely be aware of my T minus 1th version of Q. And if I use that T minus 1th version of Q over so I wanted to know that S comma A and the Tth version. So I'm going to use that at, if I take A action over this state, I'm going to be in certain states. That's my S dash. And I'm going to, I actually wanted to know that from S, if I take an action A, I end up in S dash. Can you tell me that from here, what is the maximum juice that I can extract? This is this, what is the maximum reward that I can extract? But using the previous set of parameters. So using that set of parameters, I will compute this value, and this value is somehow going to tell you that what it has to be, which essentially means that what using the previous network, what sort of S comma A that you are getting. And the new network is this, which is saying that the new S comma A value is actually this. So your loss function here, your loss function, which is going to be used for your forward pass is that what is my yi using our networks estimate. And this is actually the this thing is actually coming from the Bellman optimality, that S comma A, if you know the previous optimal solution, then using that you can compute one value, and one value your network is, your fresh network or the current network is actually giving how far both of them are. And if you can compute both of them, subtract both of them, and you just train your network parameters theta I in such a way so that to reduce or minimize this gap. So at some point of time, you will see that your network keeps starting, it started with a very random estimates. And after some point of time, when both of these things started to become close to each other, which essentially mean that the previous networks outputs are actually going to be slightly refined and are really useful to get the the current Qt version Q at pth iteration. So here also one can say that is still you are learning a Q value function, and you have, and we all understand that the problem was that S is exponentially many. So still your S comma A state is going to be huge. And yes, the S comma A state is still very big. But in order to address that scalability, what we need to do is that we are not going to compute this Q value for each and every state and action pair, because simply it's not possible. Here you can see that only few S comma A's are going inside my neural network, and for them we are going to compute this value and see that whether they are being enforcing this optimality over that. And which mean that you are not working over all the S comma A which are possible in a game. Over all S we are not working, we are only working over few S. And what are those few S? That is the thing that we are going to see next. So using this environment agent pair that we have, we are going to generate, basically generate few episodes of our game. So you have got a, assume that you have got a Q function, and assuming that that function is being parameterized over theta, and I'm giving you a network, one such network, one fixed such network. N is that fixed such network. Now the point is that if I give you one such fixed network to play, so now can you play a game? And yes, you can definitely play a game. So this network is actually telling you the Q value. Now you can use this Q value at every state. So I'm going to give you one initial starting state. And at that state, you check that all possible actions, what are that all possible actions, and choose the one which is going to give you the maximum thing. And then you will get another state. And then you again apply your Q function. You will again get the something, and you keep on doing the whole thing. So, yes. So let us see. So what does that episode mean? So, so it actually mean to say that instead of computing Q value function for each and every state and action pair, we explore only few of them. So only what are those? So we start with some state, initial state, we just start and then take an action, and then move into another state, and then take another action, and then into another state. Now this at some point of time got finished, maybe at some horizon or some terminal state. Now this is your some tau or one episode. So you have got one episode. In this way you will get tau 1, then sorry, you will get tau 1, tau 2, and all possible multiple possible episodes. And this is, we play game, we generate episodes, we use these episodes for training, and instead of considering all state and action pairs, we only consider those state action pairs that we have observed within our episodes. So you can understand that all possible S can be huge, but if you play an episode, then deterministically you are going to get certain number of episodes, and at every in every episode and at every state you have taken an action. So let us see that how we can play such a game given a Q. So how can we play a game when we know a Q? Maybe we know the network of such a parameter which is giving us the Q value function. So the point is that saving game. So first thing is that we are going to save the states, our saving the game states into training data T. So so the thing is that it's going to be a tuple which is saying that what is your raw state. This is my raw state, say it is ST, or it may be phi t. So there is not much difference between them. It may be that sometime it may be a raw state, or several times it's not that raw pixels over which we are working. We may take the differences of difference in frame. We may get the edges, or different type of processing over whatever the processing that you wanted to do. So phi t is actually the processed version of your ST. So this is the thing which is related to your state. This is your action. So this means that at this state, this action you have taken, and you have got this reward, and this is your next state. So this is these are actually 1, 2, 3, and 4 different values that you can save. And this means that you will get, one such tuple, then get second tuple, then third tuple, then fourth tuple, then fifth tuple, and so on. So this is going to tell you one episode. We are going to play an episode and save that episode in this T, which is going to be used as the training data. We just have seen episodic learning. That's what it's called as episodic learning. So we are going to save, say, m such episodes. So for first episode, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and m such episodes we are going to train, initializing your first state with some starting screen. For every game, you typically have certain few starting screens that you can assume that every game is going to have. And out of that, you just choose S1 to be some randomly um, selected starting screen. You pre-process that, and that is going to be your first phi I, basically the starting state of your agent. And then you play for T time steps, which means that I will play for first time step, then second, then third. So your agent start from here, go to some state, then next state, then next state, next state, and so on, and keep on doing and taking multiple actions in between. I will talk about this later. But before that, what you are going to do, so remember that a queue function. So if you know a queue function, but this queue function is not directly being known, a network which is going to predict a queue or approximate a queue function for you. And what is that network? That network is actually being parameterized over this theta. And these parameters, So right now I'm saying that if you know such a theta, how can you come up with multiple episodes? And now it's very simple, that you just take this theta and show that network this state, and that's going to tell you for each and every action what is the q asterisk s comma a1, s comma a2, and so on. This network is going to tell you, and the one which is maximum, you just need to pick out of that. That is your a2 at. That's your at. And what you need to do, you just have to take that at. That's your action. So that S1 or ST was your state. This action you need to play. So you take this state, give it to your rendering engine, say that have this action, and your environment is going to tell you that what is the next state and what is the next reward. So next state and next reward you have got, and you are done. I mean, now you are done. You just have to play it multiple times. So you have got some state, corresponding action, corresponding reward on the corresponding new state. And this is the 4 tuple. I just have said that just save this thing in your capital T. That is the training data we are generating with respect to theta parameters of your network. We are generating this training data. So you will get one such thing, and you do it for a huge amount of time. Now you can see that you can do it for multiple times, T times, and once you are done with one episode, you do it for second episode, then third episode, and so on. In this way, capital T is going to have huge amount of training data. These are nothing but multiple tau 1, tau 2. These are your episodes. And what are these episodes? Which are saying that ST, AT, RT, and ST plus 1. This is one state, and then you get the second, then the third, and fourth, and so on. So that is going to be your tau 1, and similarly you have multiple such episodes. Once you are done, you just return this T data for you. Why I've said that this, if you train such a gameplay algorithm, I mean, you just use this gameplay algorithm because if you have a theta, some half-cooked network, maybe some network that you wanted to somehow refine. With respect to that, I will get some training data. With respect to this training data, I will I will take this data and train this network further, and I will get a theta dash. With respect to that, I will take again more more training data, and then retrain this network and keep on doing. So now you can see that from theta, you will go to theta 1, then theta 2, then theta 2, and soon you will see that this network is actually going to converge towards the better and better estimate of your q value. At some point of time, it is going to converge. And the intuition of learning a q astic or any q value function is that your DNN, which is being parameterized over theta, is going to see an ST, going to give me ST A1, A2, A3, A4. Basically need to predict or give me the full Q distribution with respect to that ST. It's a full Q distribution with respect to that ST. And typically in your Atari game, so you all understand that we are not going to do it for all STs, but only those STs that we are going to observe in our gameplay. We are playing a game, so only those things that we are observing in our gameplay, we are only going to compute things for them. And typically in Atari games or simple games or whatever the games in which you want to apply such a concept, actions are going to be not too many, maybe from 4 to 18. So your network need to, for every AI given a ST, what is its corresponding Q value? One scalar per action per state your DNN or theta need to predict, and that is for one such ST, and we are not doing it for all such STs. So now what happened is that we will also show you the complete algorithm, which is not now very difficult. But the problem I'm now going to tell you is that there is going to be again a big problem if you train your network like this. And the problem is that if you keep on learning from consecutive samples which are coming from an episode, say T, so you are playing an episode, say tau, and in that you have got this state, an action, then this state, then action, then this state, then action, then this state. Now they are highly related, correlated frames. They are highly correlated and mostly very similar to each other. Then the samples, if they are consecutively chosen from one episode, over that your batch is being made. Now this is this is your one batch. Within that, this is one, then the second state action pair, the third, the fourth, and fifth, all of them are very similar to each other. Then network will not be able to learn complex things, and basically it may learn some very trivial dynamics and will fail to generalize. The second thing is that it may become completely biased towards the complete output. What does it mean? Let us see it once. That suppose that this is your frame number 1, then frame number 2, then frame number 3, then frame number 4, and keep on having frames like this. This is your bar 1 and bar 2, and this is the ball. And now you see that your action is left, then left, then left. Why? Because it's actually a continuous action which is happening, and that action is happening slowly, and your bar is going left, 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 or right, top or bottom or whatever. And what will happen is that your here it's not left, it may be top or bottom. So what will happen is that if you keep on taking top and top and top, or up, 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 or down, 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 so whatever the thing that you are going to choose, network is going to be completely, it may become falsely biased towards that output. So because it has seen huge amount of frames within a batch which are saying that I need to go down. Why? Because your action is happening continuously in that frame. It has to come down, it has to come down, it has to come down, it has to come down. So your network probably started to predict down, and maybe in the next streak it started to say that go up, and go up and go up. So it may happen that it may become biased towards certain current outputs, or it may started to oscillate up and down or so. So such things are going to happen because the way in which we are training is that we are taking an episode, and over that episode, whatever the individual actions within that episode that I have taken, they are consecutively shown and they are highly correlated. A network will started to, you know, learn things which may not properly generalized or may become biased towards the current actions. So what we are going to do, or what is actually being done, is that the experience replay, that is the, you know, the complete algorithm in which we use the deep Q learning with experience replay. So this is the algorithm. And what does it mean? That is that instead of making random mini batches out of the training data T, because we have got the T training data, by playing game multiple times, multiple episodes, using some available theta network. So the experience that we have got is actually being saved in T. So instead of taking things from this T, what we can do is that we keep on this T, and iteratively, so you have got your theta, from that I have got a T, and then with that I update my theta to theta dash. I have got more data. I augment that data in this T itself. So in this T, you have got certain data which is coming from theta, then certain more data which is coming from theta dash, then certain more data which is coming from theta, coming from some other network. And over that, from this big T, I started to sample randomly. I may randomly choose things from, here, then here, then here. So now what's going to happen is that things are not going to be very similar, and they are independently, some samples are coming from completely different environment, and some other samples are actually coming from very different environments, not the environment, but very different conditions. So that is your experience. Replay memory is going to happen over your training data. And this is your complete deep Q learning algorithm with experience replay. And now you can see that here we are going to use this previous algorithm of game replay, which means to say that initialize the deep Q learning network with some random parameters. Of course, your initial Q learning parameters are completely randomly initialized, and using that here, and just play the game, and this algorithm is going to return you the T. So you have got this capital T training data until you converge for some theta I. You randomly sample from the mini batch, you randomly sample a mini batch from this capital T, and understand that this T is not a fixed T dependent upon this T is keep on growing. Soon you will see. So you sample a mini batch, and yes, so now what you are going to do is that now you are going to impose the Bellman optimality. So you have got a network. What is that network? Your network is actually theta, parameterized over theta. So you ask that um, um, that I have so what you have observed during your gameplay using a previous version, say theta dash or theta T minus 1. When I was using theta T minus 1, I have got some experience, and that's actually being placed over here. From that you are going to sample, and what you are sampling is that at this state I was choosing this action, I was getting this reward, and this was my next state. So one thing is that network, assuming to be optimal, then what should have to be the yj? And yj we just have defined previously as well, that suppose that this was your final state, then that is the maximum juice that you can extract from that state itself. And if that is not the final or the terminal state, then then that is anyways RJ you are going to take, because that was the immediate reward. And after that you may be ending up at say this was the state. So from this state, if I choose whatever the possible actions which are being there, what is the maximum juice or the reward that I can extract? So that was the equation of your q q s comma a we just have shown previously. And that is the thing which is saying that if your previous thing was actually giving you a proper approximation, then if I use that, then yj is going to be the value. Now let us see that what my network is going to give me. And your network is obviously going to give you this q value. The current, what should have to be the current q value? So this is going to be your current q value. This is going to be your yj. And that is why I've said that that was the loss function, which was assuming that this my network is giving this Bellman optimality is being going to say something that it has to be at this state, this value has to be close to this. Then we difference both of them, and that is going to be my loss function. And for a batch, so this we have done for one such pair. We do it for one such pair, and we do it for whole batch and keep on adding it into L. And yeah, so you have got another set of parameters, theta, your theta. You may probably get a better version of your theta. And once you have got a better version of your theta, you again play your game and augment whatever the new experience or the episode that you can generate in your t. And now your t is keep on growing slowly. In this t you can it keep on growing, as well as you can discard. You can always say that last 5 network data probably you are going to save, or last 2 network data, and the games or the episode that are being played using my very recent networks, only those things are going to be used for my further training. Because as your training progress, the things that you have experienced very far in time may not be correct, so you keep on for not using them for your further training. So that is going to be your forward pass loss function. We just have seen that. And this is nothing but anyways the loss function of your deep q learning with experience replay. Backward propagation is not a very difficult thing, because now you can see that this is what over this you need to differentiate. So you can easily differentiate this, and that's the derivative that you are going to get. And Bellman estimate q value function using the current network. So yeah, so this is your Bellman estimate of the q value function using the current network. Yeah, so this is your network is giving the value. This is that the thing that you have got from your experience replay, optimality that you are going to get from your experience replay. So yeah, so hence we have seen that in the deep q learning network, it actually tries to estimate the optimal q value function starting from some random estimate and keep on refining it iteratively by imposing Bellman optimality. Imposing the Bellman optimality. So this is the imposing the Bellman optimality, because this is the thing which is coming from the Bellman optimality thing. This your network is independently telling we wanted to have both of these things as close as possible. Now it may be the case that given any MDP, its corresponding optimal q function is its solution, and given a q value function for any MDP, one can plan to define the policy by moving greedily over that. So if you wanted to know that I know that what is the q function for this, so essentially you can you know the policy, because you can use that q function. And we just have seen that what does it mean to move greedily using that q value function. So given this MDP, we learn a q value function. Over that, we move greedily by using this maximum thing.